Good evening, you're watching Estuary TV News. Coming up, James Dunn investigates the costs of drug spending, and we visit Hull to find out about an affordable housing programme. And joining me in the studio is Jonathan Byrne from the Humber YMCA. Welcome to Estuary TV News. I'm Hugh Richards. First of all, it's over to Richard Morris for the news headlines.
Hello there. Keep Louth Special have lost their judicial review application to have the process reviewed for the sale of Louth Cattle Market to Asda, subject to contract and planning permission. The council's portfolio holder for finance and property, Councillor John Upsall, said the council welcomes the decision of the High Court to reject the application for judicial review. We have recently appointed architects to start looking in detail at what a replacement livestock market with the flexibility for other uses on non-market days might look like. The council has been awarded £2,000 in costs. 3 offshore wind farms have been given the go-ahead by Westminster. The farms off the coast of Hornsey have been agreed with the help of North Lincolnshire Council. It will include local advertising of jobs for the area, creating up to 2,500 in the region. When built, Hornsey Project 1 will produce enough electricity to power more than 800,000 homes. Energy and Climate Change Minister Ed Davey said that with around 2,500 local green jobs on the horizon, this is another great boost for Yorkshire and Lincolnshire. The project is based 64 miles off the coast of Yorkshire. Hull was the scene of history yesterday as it hosted its first same-sex marriage registration. Mandy and Sally Herraville were married at the Wilson Centre in the city as they converted their civil partnership into a civil marriage on the first day the legislation had been passed. They settled for a civil partnership but were delighted to be able to make the same vows as a heterosexual marriage.
It means everything.
Yeah.
We wanted marriage in the first place. We didn't want civil partnership because marriage means so much more. And today we finally actually get it and we feel complete now. We want to be equal, and that's why we've invited the press with us today, because it's the celebration of equality. That everyone can now become married and have the same rights and be able to call each other husband or wife, rather than just you're my civil partner, which just sounds so awkward and just so wrong. I don't want to be civil.
That's all from me, and I'll be back with more news soon. If you've got any news for us in the meantime, please call us on Grimsby 31553. Bye for now.
Thank you, Richard. In these days of austerity, cash-strapped councils can find it hard to provide new, affordable housing. A Hull-based company has found a way to provide this housing, all the while helping people out through rehabilitation programmes, work experience or gaining qualifications. Dave Nunn went to find out more.
It's a chance for people to give something back or to learn new skills. That's the main ethos of the Hull-based company Gyroscope.
Gyroscope's a housing charity. We're based in West Hull. We buy and renovate empty and derelict terraced houses, bringing them back to provide affordable housing to people in housing need.
These houses are renovated and restored by people from all walks of life, from people simply wanting to learn about construction to ex-offenders giving something back.
I was in William Buff at the time, and Sarah, one of the volunteers, come down to William Buff, asked if I wanted to have a go at volunteering. At first I said no, but then my partner got into it, seeing you have a go, and I did, and to be honest, it's the best thing I've ever done. Yeah,
it's very good. I'm learning many trades here, obviously from plastering to building to electrical work, to a bit of plumbing as well. It's very good.
It's really enjoyable. As I say, I came to Gyroscope in 2013 myself as a volunteer. I only actually came here for 40 hours to get a job reference. And as I say, I've been coming ever since, and in the middle of this year I was lucky enough to be employed by Gyroscope.
The management take a lot of pride in the chances they give local people.
I think that sometimes the housing and the kind of employment training side of it works really well, that maybe someone that's worked on one of our houses might go on to live in one of the properties and give a bit back to the community that we live and work in.
Gyroscope volunteers have been giving back to the community for 29 years now. and the desire of their volunteers to work will drive the company forward for years to come.
You're watching Estuary TV News. Coming up, it's Dog of the Week. Can you give this dog a home? And Dan Kemp will bring you all the sports news. In the UK, there are many thousands of homeless people, but it's difficult to estimate how many are homeless, as about 62% are what is known as hidden, which means they live in squats or bed down on friends' floors. Figures published in February by the government estimate 2,414 people also sleep rough. Each year, to help raise awareness of this, a Sleep Easy event is held, and my guest tonight is John Byrne from the YMCA Humber, who'll tell us more about this event. John, thanks for coming in.
Evening, Hugh.
What is a Sleep Easy?
It's one night of the year where our fundraisers will sleep out for one night in at certain places across the region, just to raise funds for youth homelessness.
And how does this raise funds? How does this make money?
What happens is that a person will sign up online or sign up through a paper sponsorship form through YMCA, and they will go out to their friends and family who will hopefully sponsor them a few pennies to spend a night sleeping rough on the streets with us.
And how many people have you got taking part in this in your region, in the Humber?
So far this year we've already got 60 people signed up, which is fantastic. In 2014, the event in January, we had our most ever, which was 260 across the region.
And I guess that Christmas is coming up. People feel aware of the, people feel charitable, I suppose. Charity is perhaps the wrong word, but people feel that they want to make a contribution. So is this a good time to get people out there?
I think it certainly is, yeah. We tend to do January because it's right in the middle of Poverty and Homelessness Awareness Month. So, and statistically, the time we do it, which this year is 30th of January, it's the coldest week of the year on average. So it seems like the right time to do it, and it certainly makes a more awareness amongst people.
And what sort of people have you got volunteering to do this?
We've got all sorts. This year we've got Mark Jones, who's the Conservative candidate for Grimsby, and we had Nick Dakin last year, who's MP for Scunthorpe. Local councillors, we've had journalists, we've had other sorts of fundraisers. All people of all ages have signed up for Sleep Easy before.
How much money are you hoping to raise this time round?
We're hoping to hit 25,000 again. We've raised 100,000 in the previous 4 years, so we need to keep the campaign going because youth homelessness, it's a problem that we're managing to contain in this region, but it's a problem that unfortunately is not going away. So if we can hit the £25,000 mark again, that will be absolutely brilliant. Well,
£25,000 is enormous, very, very generous sum of money to raise in this way. As you said, it is very cold.
It is, yeah.
Is this, maybe that might put people off sleeping? I mean, people who are doing it voluntarily, of course for the sake of the people who have no choice, but people do it, wouldn't you raise more money if you did it in August or July?
Surprisingly not, no. It's the challenge is something that people like to take on. Like we have all these different fundraising challenges, and I think people see giving up their bed and the warm home for one night as a real challenge, and some people seem to thrive on the colder it is, the more money that they can raise and the better they can do on the night.
It's dangerous to sleep on the streets. I mean, not just because of the cold and hypothermia and the simple elements in the weather, but the streets in some of our towns around the Humber and in Yorkshire and Lincolnshire can be dangerous at night. Do you have advice? Do you have precautions that you take to make sure that people are safe?
We certainly do, yes. All the sites are, fully secured. The site in Grimsby's Freshly Placed Shopping Centre in the car park there, so that's fully secured off. In Hull, it's at Wilberforce College, again in a concourse area there that's fully secure. And then in Beverley, who've just signed up to run their own Sleep Easy, it's at a place called King's Church. So all the sites are secure. There are volunteers on hand to help out steward the event, the security put on. So it's all cordoned off, and it's all safe and secure for our fundraisers.
How many people do you estimate in your area that the YMCA is aware of around the Humber? How many people are sleeping rough?
It's really hard to put a figure on it. I think, we have nearly 100 in our hostels, but then there's other youth hostels and other homelessness hostels across the region. And I think you spoke about hidden homelessness there, and I think that's the key. It's such a hard figure to nail down because you don't really know how many people are out there going from sofa to sofa, from friends to family, and then people who are living in temporary accommodation, whether it be bed and breakfast or hostels, it really is hard to put a figure on it.
And what is it that drives people? I mean, hostels and friends' sofas, I mean, we've all sofa surfed from time to time, but what is it that pushes people to be sleeping on the streets? What causes that?
I think the latest statistics from Homeless Link, they did a report in November that it's mainly relationship breakdown. So you would say that's either with family, other relatives, your boyfriend or girlfriend or other friends. If that relationship breaks down and you've been reliant on a person, you suddenly find yourself homeless. And I mean, other causes can be losing your job, for example, and you know, there are cases out there where things have spiralled out of control quite quickly. You can be in a job and with a nice home one moment, and if that job goes away, then how do you pay the bills at the end of the month?
Well, we have a very sophisticated welfare system in this country, and there's a big part of which is housing benefit. And there's a system, local government and national government, structures, hierarchies, institutions there, and money there to ensure that nobody need to be without a roof over their head at night. Why isn't that working? Or why are not people taking advantage of that?
I think sometimes people maybe aren't aware of where they need to go to and what benefits they're entitled to, which is something that YMCA and its partner charities across the region work with. It's not just about putting a roof over somebody's head, it's about giving them the skills and the knowledge so that they can actually go on into independent living. There's also, when you do put a claim in, you don't get that money straight away. It takes a certain amount of time, to sort of 3 to 4 weeks for that claim to come through, and with the best will in the world, if you're going to go 3 to 4 weeks with no income whatsoever, there's not a lot you can do there. Yeah, it's really tough for people.
But at least that benefit will come through eventually, even if it's only. But why is there long-term homelessness? The people who haven't had a home and haven't had a place to call their own for years.
I think because when you're young, and we would class young as sort of the people we work with at the YMCA, 16 to 25. If you've experienced homelessness when you're 16 to 25, you are more likely to experience homelessness again as you get older. It's something where, unfortunately, there seems to be sort of like a revolving door where you bring a person into sort of homeless accommodation where we try and work with them through support plans, and because we do look at, there is sometimes an associated issue, whether it be mental health, whether it be substance abuse, financial debt, there's some sort of another issue there that can usually contribute to the homelessness, and it's working with that person and engaging with them. And sometimes you're dealing with the toughest, most vulnerable people in society, and
toughest and most vulnerable at the same time.
And at the same time, yeah, it's like a juxtaposition. It's and
you get into a cycle, and they find it difficult to come out.
They find it very, very difficult to come out of it.
What do people have to do if they want to be involved with these Sleep Easy events? How can they get in touch?
They can visit a website, which is www.sleep-easy.co.uk, or they can give us a ring on 01472 693388, and you can get registered. It costs £10 for an adult to get registered, which covers like all your administration costs and the costs of a few refreshments on the evening, because we're not going to leave people completely without anything, with teas and coffees and things like that. But yeah, you can visit that website, or you can give us a call and sign up.
And just a final note, you're working for the YMCA, the Young Man's Christian Association. Must just emphasise that you don't have to be a man or a Christian.
You don't, no. We're open to all. We're open to women, children, anybody, yes, certainly.
And you've got sites here in Grimsby, in Peaks Lane, and at the foyer, it's called, isn't it?
That's right, yeah. We have 3...
well, so forgive me to stop you there, John. We could talk for much longer, but thank you very much, John Byrne, and see you soon.
Thank you very much.
Yesterday, Ofsted's Chief Inspector, Sir Michael Wilshaw, very publicly said that 1/3 of Britain's secondary schools simply aren't good enough while delivering the Watchdog's annual inspections report. But parents and teachers will know that the Ofsted ratings and what's really going on inside schools aren't necessarily the same thing. So we went out onto the streets of Grimsby to see what they think of schools in the area and see if the head of Ofsted was right to say what he did.
Yeah, definitely. If the school's failing, yeah, I want to know, yes, yeah, because otherwise, you know, she's not going to get the best education, so...
There's a lot of mischief with the kids, bullying and with all the crimes and stuff.
Just because the school isn't great or outstanding, does it mean it's not good enough, do you reckon?
No, I don't agree with that, no. I don't agree with that. Depends on the individual child, really, I think. If they're happy at the school, then that's what... I just think happiness means a lot.
So you're quite happy with schools in the area?
In the town area, yeah. He went to another school that was quite rubbish around there, but is it a good one now? They're not all bad.
Just the people, like you said.
It is just the people. I mean, yeah, you say stricter standards, but they'll just twag or something like that, and then they won't get an education. But it is the people in general.
I work at Humberston Academy.
Oh yeah.
And we're not failing, we're outstanding, Ofsted rated. And my grandson goes to St James's, and that's a super school as well.
So you think we've got plenty of good schools in the area?
Absolutely.
It's bad areas here and good areas. We live good areas. So our kids, they go to Tolbar, so Tolbar is very good school and good education. And it's good for the future as well for kids. But depends where you live, I think.
More money is spent on substance misuse than on any other area of public health spending. Information obtained by Estuary TV News shows that the 4 local authorities in the region allocated more than £15 million a year on people with drugs problems. That's nearly £500,000 more than the total spent on smoking, alcohol, obesity and sexual health combined. But authorities believe it's vital that vulnerable people with drug problems get the help they need, or other members of the public could be put at risk. James Dunn has more.
Drugs have a severe impact on our communities, although help is available for those who want it. And in these times of austerity, Police and Crime Commissioner Matthew Grove says it's vital that drug treatment is protected.
There is a real risk in this period of austerity that we will see individual organisations defending their own budgets by cutting investment into drug treatment. I believe it's very short-sighted. I believe it will end up causing significant problems in communities.
Drug misuse has become so prevalent that it's now an expensive problem. Our 4 local authorities spend more than £15 million a year on treating it. Like everything else, the budget is falling as authorities look to save money. But bosses feel services will still run effectively.
We've made some efficiency savings by doing some re-procurement, but actually that probably means that we're quite safe to move ahead in the future and keep that investment going, really. There's a piece of research that's been done by Public Health England that suggests that for every £1 spent on drug or alcohol treatment, around about £6 is saved. And I think a lot of that is because of the associated medical and criminal costs. So particularly for drug use, there's a huge issue around the criminal justice sector and the impact on crime if we don't spend money on treatment.
And you can't always put a price on the impact of treatment. Laura used alcohol, cocaine, cannabis and legal highs. But since seeking help in Scunthorpe a year ago, she's turned her life around and now hopes to help others do the same.
It was impacting me a lot because I was really chaotic in what I was doing. I was working and I was just using things to cope with stuff. I don't think I'd be like here now if I didn't have the support of the services. I'm a lot more confident, I've got career goals in mind. I'd never go back to where I was this time last year. I've gained a good friend group from volunteering in the services and it gives me something to get up for, and I do enjoy coming in and meeting new people.
Thank you, James. You're watching Estuary TV News. Now here's Dan Kemp with the sport.
The chairman of Scunthorpe United has said the club are having a difficult time with the squad at the moment, but has praised the work of manager Mark Robbins. The Irons sit in the relegation zone on goal difference, level on points with Leyton Orient and Gillingham. Peter Swan was talking at a public consultation to showcase their plans for a new 12,000-seater stadium at the Lincolnshire Lake.
It's nice to have the football team doing well at the same time. You know, it's nice to bring in a manager, and again we're in that position where we've only lost 1 game in 9. We're having a difficult time at the minute, you know, because we've got a mixture of loanees and players who are injured.
Hull Stingrays player coach Omar Pasha has been handed a 2-game ban and warned about his future conduct. The Elite League's Department for Player Safety made the judgment that Pasha brought the game to disrepute and failed to act in the spirit of the game for abusing officials. He'll now miss Saturday's visit of the Elite League champions, the Belfast Giants, and Sunday's trip to Dundee. The Humber Warhawks will play in the first ever Associate Bowl on Sunday. The Warhawks are our American football side and will visit the Select Security Stadium in Widnes to play the Halton Spartans. 500 tickets have already been sold for the event, and the Tynedale Fury were unable to field a team. And finally, in basketball, the Hull Wasps are hoping stability is the key for them until the end of the season. They've appointed James Coulson as their new permanent head coach for the remainder of the current campaign. And Chairman Dave Bushell said they always wanted James to take the reins, as he has the entire team behind him. They sit 9th in Division 3 North. And that's all for the sport.
Now, in another of our weekly features, we visit Sangreet Kennels to see who needs to find a new home.
We've got a brindle staffy bitch. She's been in with us since the 9th of September, which is a pretty long time for a staffy to be in the kennels. She's coping with it pretty well, but a lot of the staffies, they don't do kenneling. They sometimes get like a staffy rage. This particular staffy that came into us, she did come into us with a really bad flea infestation, and she's been in with us that long that her coat's grown back. She's fine on the lead, she behaves herself in the kennel, she doesn't chew. Just basically she's looking for a really good home for, through the winter months.
And I hope somebody can offer the dog a home. Now, before we finish, we'd like to know who can make Danish gravy. We're on the hunt to find the best Danish gravy maker in the area, as according to a certain documentary broadcasting, it's not on Estuary, I'm afraid, it's someone called Jeff who makes that claim. If you can help us with that, or if you have a story of any other sort, then contact us through either our Facebook page or Twitter, contact details on the screen, or email news at estuary.tv, or pick up the phone and call 01472 31 55553. Until tomorrow, though, good evening.
Hello and welcome to Estuary TV's weather. On Friday, any early rain or snow will soon clear, but it'll leave a risk of icy stretches at first. Then breezy with sunny spells and a few wintry showers. It'll still feel cold, maximum temperature of 5 degrees. On Saturday it'll be cold and breezy with sunny spells and the odd wintry shower. Maximum temperature 4 degrees.